Welcome to the Not Old Better Show, episode number 190. I'm your host, Paul Vogelsang. As part of our Business and Industry Doing Good series, we have a great show today. Our guest is Jay Jorgensen. Jay Jorgensen is the Executive Vice President and Global Chief Ethics and Compliance Officer for Walmart. As the leader of Walmart's Global Ethics and Compliance team, Jay Jorgensen develops the company's strategic vision for all the ethics and compliance programs within Walmart. I've known Jay for some time and know what a great person he is, and I've watched firsthand all the good he's doing.
For example, we have this Investing in American Jobs initiative. So in 2013, the company said, we're going to make a commitment that we're going to, over and above what we buy now, we're going to purchase an additional $250 billion in products that are American-made, supporting American jobs through 2023. So it's been interesting to see that play out, because then it results in partnerships with other companies. You know, the companies that make charcoal grills, that make tires, that make gift wrap, they know that Walmart wants to buy products that were made in the United States.
And that, of course, is our guest today, Chief Compliance and Ethics Officer Jay Jorgensen, who will be joining us from his offices in Bentonville, Arkansas via Skype. Before we get to Jay, I want to mention that following the Roots Tech event, I'm excited to share with you one excellent genealogy resource I'm using. Genealogybank.com has the world's largest collection of newspaper titles, over 7,000 of them from all over the United States, with billions of birth records, marriages, engagements, obituaries, and 327 plus years of U.S. newspaper coverage. Check out genealogybank.com/NOBS to learn more and support the show. Now please join me in welcoming to the Not Old Better Show, Jay Jorgensen. Well, Jay Jorgensen, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here.
Jay Jorgensen, let's start with your title, Chief Ethics Officer and Global Chief Compliance Officer. You know, that's a title that makes sense to me, but this integration that takes place, you know, with the title, it's probably an interesting title, one that may be unique. Is that something unique just to you? Has it evolved over some time? I've not heard that title elsewhere.
Well, I joined Walmart about 5 years ago, and at the time the company had an ethics program. An ethics program meaning, like, we want to do the right thing in the way we do business every day. We want people to be able to ask questions and raise concerns, and so we had this ethics program to address it. But then separately, for anybody who's ever shopped at Walmart, you know there's a million different things we need to do to run our store right, to have it be clean, to have it be fresh, to have it be friendly and light. And there's a lot of different rules and regulations that run that. And so that's compliance, complying with those rules and regulations. So the company folded those two things together because they really are two sides of the same coin. Like doing what is sort of instinctively the right thing every day and also complying with the rules about how we do business. We wanted to think of those as one thing, like a values-based system. You know, our value is we want to be the most trusted retailer. We want families to feel like they can trust us to take care of them. And it felt like those things should go together to make that happen.
Well, they sound like two things that I think you do very well. I know you a little bit, of course, but that is also a lofty position. What is your reporting assignment? Are you reporting directly to the board? Is there kind of another direction that you're going with this position?
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about Walmart, and then I'll tell you a little bit myself. So Walmart is a large company, by many measures, the world's largest. So we have around 2.4 million people who work for Walmart all around the world. We do business in 28 countries. We have e-commerce websites in a number of countries. We have more than 11,000 stores all around the world. And each week we have more than 260 million customer transactions. So if you think of the millions and millions of people who are coming and going through Walmart or one of the stores that belong to the Walmart family but operate under a different brand somewhere in the world, we just have that going on, you know, all day long, all night long. We serve people. So in light of that, my structure is I'm in the home office in Bentonville, Arkansas, which is a lovely little town, a great place to live, family area oriented place, and some people describe it kind of like Mayberry. And here in this small town, the reason I'm mentioning is this is it's a little bit unusual to have the home office of such an enormous corporation in such a small town. So in this small town, you get a chance to interact with all the senior leaders of Walmart, and we get to really know each other. So I report to the audit committee of our board of directors, and then also to our corporate secretary and a person who her title is, she's the executive vice president of global governance. So it's an interesting mix. It's like Wall Street during the day and Mayberry at night.
That's an excellent description. And I know you a little bit, of course, as an attorney. You worked for a large law firm here in Washington, D.C., where I'm based. You clerked with the Supreme Court. How does that background help you in this role now, in that kind of reporting assignment, doing all the things that you're doing?
Yeah, I'm so fortunate. The things you just mentioned, I'm really grateful for the opportunities I've had. I think the thing that prepared me the most for my current job at Walmart was that I grew up in a small town on a farm. My dad raised cattle, and we had a little family farm, and my parents taught school. And so I come at this job knowing what it's like to shop at Walmart. A Walmart opened in the town not far from me when I was young, and that was a big thing. It was nice in our very rural setting to have a place to go and a place to shop. And so having been like a customer and having grown up in that way, now I can see Walmart through those eyes. Like when we're making policies or we're making changes about how are we going to do our business, how are we going to treat our employees, what's our pay going to be, those are people I grew up with and that I feel like I know. So that was my best training. Then you're exactly right. From there, I got the opportunity to go to the BYU Law School and became a lawyer, but I'm not that bad of a person despite that. And then I got to clerk for a judge named Sam Alito, who then was working on the Third Circuit Federal Appeals Court in Newark, New Jersey. So I lived in Newark for a while, which was a huge social change from growing up in the rural West. And then I got to work at the U.S. Supreme Court, working with the Chief Justice of the United States for a while, and then I've had a legal career ever since. So, I got these opportunities to learn the law, but I really think what helped me was the foundation of learning how to work on a farm.
Yeah, and certainly the ethics of the law has probably served you well. And again, I know you, and I know what a fine man you are. But what's your day-to-day like with ethics and compliance combined?
Yeah, if you think about a Walmart, you could almost figure out the things that we're working on just by thinking about how you walk in the store. So, you park outside and you walk in the store, and you've already encountered the work that I'm doing. We need the parking lot to be safe and well lit. There's a safety aspect to it. And then as you come in, unless it's raining, you probably haven't noticed that there's water runoff from our facilities. And that water runoff, it needs to be handled right. If we have a store in a community, we want the water in that community and the land and the environment in that community to be healthy. And so the design of how the facility is built and how the water is handled, that's part of what my group does. So then you walk in the store, and there's hopefully a nice produce department. And so food safety. Walmart has one of the world's largest food safety organizations, and I get to work with them and to lead them. And it's a great organization. Walmart does so much to drive food safety forward in the world. I can give you just a couple of examples. This year, we're experimenting with some other companies with what's called blockchain technology. Blockchain is the same technology that people use to make Bitcoin, that kind of technology. And what it is it's an open ledger. It's a computer system where everybody who uses the computer system can see everybody else's work in it as well. So, for example, if mangoes are grown in Central America, the farmer enters them into the system. I've got 1,000 crates of mangoes, and I'm sending them to Walmart. And then when the shipper picks them up and notes in the system, hey, I picked them up and this was their condition, everybody, the farmer and us and the shipper, they can all see that. Then when it gets to, say, maybe the refrigeration facility or the trucking facility in the United States, again, they enter in here. The mangoes arrived on this day at this time. This is what they look like. And then when we get them, we enter into the system. We got them. This is what they look like. This is the condition they're in. And you can see all of that and instantaneously. And the reason that's so helpful is because if there's ever any question about any kind of a product, then you can address it and again make sure that the food is safe. I'll give you an example. Like if there's a recall on spinach, maybe like there's some kind of spinach contamination. Well, as you go in a store, there could be bags of spinach from all over the place, from throughout the United States and other countries there in the refrigerator. How do you know which ones to take down? So blockchain tells you instantaneously of the fruits and vegetables we have, where did they come from, where were they produced, how did they get to us, so that we can immediately respond to that kind of situation. That's just one of 100 different examples of the way Walmart is working to make food safe and clean and fresh. So there you are. We're continuing on with what do we do. You're in the produce department. As you shop around, the prices that we show, which hopefully are low and attractive to your family, they need to be accurate. The prices we advertise need to be the same as the prices that we actually charge when you check out. So my team works on that. The weights and measures, as you weigh the things that you're buying, those all need to be accurate. My team works on that. As you shop in the deli, it needs to be clean and of the highest quality. My team helps with all that. And so if you think about all the different sort of rules that would exist inside the store that hopefully you don't even notice, you just walk through and it's a nice experience. That's what my team is doing, is they're creating those in a way that the people who work in the store can easily carry them out and execute them at a high level of certainty.
Behind the scenes, but definitely a necessary part of any shopping experience. That's a lot of work. I know there's a real inward focus that you have within Walmart. There's also an external focus that you have. I read about an alliance that you're a part of with counterparts from other retailers. Maybe touch on that a little bit and maybe share with us one or two of the successes that we might not see, but maybe behind the scenes kind of work that you do with that group.
Sure. Yeah. One of the things I've loved about working at Walmart is what you just mentioned. I feel like because we're a big company, we have the ability to do good in the world. Like if we make a decision that to do the right thing, it can have real ripple effects out in the world. And, some of those decisions relate to where we buy things. So, for example, we have this Investing in American Jobs initiative. Mm-hmm. So in 2013, the company said, we're going to make a commitment that we're going to, over and above what we buy now, we're going to purchase an additional $250 billion in products that are American-made, supporting American jobs through 2023. So it's been interesting to see that play out because then it results in partnerships with other companies. The companies that make charcoal grills, that make tires, that make gift wrap, they know that Walmart wants to buy products that were made in the United States. So they go out of their way to see if they can do that because they want to sell those products to us. And it's been really interesting to see, new job opportunities, new manufacturing opening in the United States because of that. And then I'll tell the other side of that. We also purchase products abroad, and we purchase, for example, apparel that's made in the country of Bangladesh. Bangladesh, a couple of years ago, realized it had a huge safety crisis. The factories that made apparel there were not up to the same level of safety as what you would see in a factory in the United States. And so they had several tragedies. They had a factory fall down. They had another factory burn down. And a lot of people were killed. So Walmart banded together with a number of other companies like Target, like Gap, and we figured out how do we address this situation. And we brought in experts in safety, and they created standards for how these factories, should be built, should be equipped. And then we stood up this alliance, this organization, whereby we provided training and we provided inspections for the factories. We gave each factory owner, the alliance did a list of the things that needed to be fixed and remediated in their factory. Then we followed up to make sure that it had been done. We set up a hotline where the people who work in the factories could have a voice, a place where they could call and ask questions or report concerns, and then provided training to more than 1 million people who work in garment factories in Bangladesh. Training on the kind of simple things that are, to you and me, maybe routine, but to someone who hasn't had the training, it makes a life-changing difference. Like, for instance, what should you do in a fire? If there's a fire, what should you do? And, you and I, Paul, we went to kindergarten here in the U.S., so we learned at the fire drill to line up and march safely outside, and talk to our friends who are outside. Well, if you haven't had that training, you might not know. So we did a survey of these workers to say, before we did the training, to say, what should you do in the event of a fire? And one of the common answers was, get under my desk or get under my workstation, which, as you know, is exactly the wrong thing to do. So we did this training and then did follow-up testing, and of course now people give the right answer and they practice fire drills. So whether we're talking about in the U.S. or we're talking about abroad, one of the things I've loved about working at this company is the ability to make life better for other people.
It sounds like it. And so these must be some of the same initiatives that are the most personally gratifying to you and really offer you a sense of accomplishment.
You're exactly right. It's nice to have a job, but it's nice for me. I feel blessed to have a job where I feel like I can make a difference. I went to Bangladesh and I saw a factory that had fire doors, that had fire equipment and alarms, the kind of things that you would expect to see. And it was touching. And then I heard about a situation, receiving reports back from this alliance, where after we had done this work, there was a fire at a factory. And what happened is the alarms went off, everybody followed their training and marched out, and no one was hurt. And, I felt a personal connection to them, like that our company had a chance to help them in their lives. And, that means the world to me.
My audience is certainly at a point in their lives when they are interested in giving back. And doing good is something that I found associated with you personally in my research. What advice would you give my audience who's interested in doing some good and giving back?
That's a big question because there's so many needs in the world. Like I think about in the community that we live in, there are needs. And then the state and the country as a whole. And, it can be daunting, I think, sometimes for me to see the big numbers of what people do. Like, I'll give you an example. Here at Walmart, I get a chance to do work with the Walmart Foundation. The Walmart Foundation is a charity that Walmart takes some of its profits and puts in the charity so that we can give back to the communities that we're in. And a couple of years ago, in what we would call fiscal year 2016, the Walmart Foundation donated more than $1.4 billion in just that year alone. So when I see that, I'm proud of Walmart and I'm proud to be part of it. But I guess what I'm driving at is I say to myself, don't let myself be limited. Don't let yourself be limited by thinking, well, I can't donate $1 billion, so therefore I'm not going to participate. Because actually what that big number is, it's the aggregate of a lot of individual actions. It's individual people choosing to do things. And to give an example, in that same year, the people who work at Walmart, which we call associates, they donated more than 1.2 million hours of their time outside of work to various volunteer causes, which we try to track and incentivize them and recognize them for doing that. So again, it's a big number, but oftentimes when you think of charitable work or giving back, you see these big numbers. But again, that is an aggregation of millions of people giving an hour here or an hour there. So that's my point. Each of us have something right around us, within 5 miles of our house. There's somebody that we can serve. Like, it's a school, it's a charity, it's Goodwill, it's, the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts. There's something we can do to lift up our community, and that's what we can do. And then, someone can aggregate the numbers and say, this is how much money or how much time was given, and that's impressive and motivational. But it's only made possible because each of us choose to do just a small something, and that's what makes the difference.
Good advice, good recommendations. We can all give. Jay Jorgensen, Chief Ethics Officer, Global Chief Compliance Officer. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time today. What a pleasure it is to talk to you, Jay.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. My thanks to Jay Jorgensen and his team for all their help in making today's show come together. Thanks to you, my listeners, for spending some of your time with me. I know it's valuable, I appreciate it, and I'm grateful you've decided to join me for this show. Please continue to send me email with your excellent show ideas and comments, and please join us for our next show, another great one, as we talk about better, the Not Old Better Show. Thanks, everybody.